What's up, everyone? This week we recap that really solid road win against Zlatan and the LA Galaxy, and we talk about how Atlanta United keeps on climbing up those power rankings. All that and more coming up.
Welcome to the show, 5-Star fam. I'm AJ, this is Tata Martino. Before we get into it, become a member of the notification squad by hitting the bell next to the subscribe button. So guys, let's get right into that win against LA Galaxy over the weekend. We were all burning that midnight oil watching this game, but it was well worth it in the end, as we came away 2-0 winners against Zlatan and LA Galaxy. And our defensive, just our ability to be so stout, especially on the road, really showed in this game. And I think, us going into the game, we were fairly confident about what the scoreline would be.
Yeah, I mean, you had 3-2. I think I had 3-1. Clearly, we gave the Galaxy, honestly, it really is Zlatan and the Galaxy. There's no real chemistry there.
Yeah.
They were very poor. They had a couple of half chances. Honestly, that game could have been about 5 or 6 if we knew how to put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah.
But I think, both of us were confident going in. But it ended up being a very interesting performance from the boys, because it's nice to win on the road and keep a clean sheet, especially in MLS. That off the bat, really, you just get 10s for that, because that's something that doesn't happen a lot, especially
it's so
with this
hard
team.
to do on the road.
Especially with this team, that's 3 clean sheets out of the last 4 games that they've played. So that's saying something.
Yeah.
But I think there were some definite places of improvement throughout this match. Our finishing was poor. At times, especially early in the match. I think we brought unnecessary pressure onto ourselves by playing out of the back and maybe taking some interesting touches there. But at the end of the day, LA United controlled this game from start to finish, and I don't think the result was really ever in a doubt.
Yeah, I mean, again, LA Galaxy definitely had their chances. An early, really audacious chance by Ola Kamara on an overhead kick.
Poor header from McCain. That was about all he did wrong that whole game, though, because after that, they had a whole lot of nothing going against him.
Exactly. And we got our end of the match going in early with our offense, and we got a penalty early. Miggy was brought down in the box. Josef steps up to take the penalty. Hops up and misses the penalty, hits the post. But yeah, I mean, let's talk through that penalty. I mean, it's obviously not his best penalty ever, but he has, to my knowledge, he hasn't missed before this one. So, I mean, he's been decent. It's just, was it too fancy?
Yeah, I think he. I mean, it was. Let's call it what it is. It was a bad penalty. I think he maybe did a little bit too much. He always kind of takes that like slow walk step, one kind of step finish with his penalty. Eden Hazard is very similar in how he takes his penalties. I didn't really get the whole hop at the end, but he knows where to find where the net is. He knows how to put the ball in the net, and you're not going to score all of them. It happens. It's frustrating. It's a high percentage shot. You should score, but he made up for it. So as far as I'm concerned, it's a wash. He got his goal on the road, which a lot of people were concerned about.
Right.
He turns right around and gets that goal. So
absolutely,
it's you can't be too upset with him. I mean, what was really interesting, he played a very interesting role in this game. He dropped deep a lot more than I've traditionally seen him to kind of, come back into the play and then bring it in and have guys running off him, which is something that I haven't really seen from Atlanta United before. Very interesting. It's definitely a difficult thing for a defender to deal with when you have him dropping back and Barco and Almiron making all these runs, not to mention Gressel bombing forward, Nagby bombing forward. It's very difficult to defend against, and teams are going to face a lot more of that, especially when they play at Mercedes-Benz. So when it came to the build-up play, I thought Atlanta United were really good this game.
It's true, and not just the build-up play, but the defensive work too led to the first goal. Miggy dispossesses an LA Galaxy player here and then drives at pace into the box and snaps a shot, hits the crossbar. Oh my God, like how that shot didn't go in is just like...
Had to hit every part of the woodwork before they scored. Clearly were the instructions given by Tata.
Exactly, right? Yeah. And then, so the ball to Gressel from Barco, this is just a beauty. I mean...
he did it all night as well.
Yeah,
he did it multiple. Exactly. I mean, Gressel could have had multiple goals.
He had so many chances. Yeah, but yeah, Gressel also hits it off the crossbar. It's just That thing is blasted. Holy cow. I mean...
his first touch to settle that, by the way, was excellent. Nice. And he's a guy that... he's not known for his first touch, but that was very well taken. Unlucky not to get a goal there. I mean, he deserved a goal against LA. He played really well, in my opinion.
It's true. It's true. And Josef gets his poacher's goal, which I mean, we all had that trepidation. Is he gonna be able to score on the road? And you know, he hasn't, I guess, historically in MLS through the few months that he's had the opportunity to play. So I think, you know, it's a small sample size that he hasn't scored that much on the road. So, you know, this is maybe a good sign where the trend might go. So.
Yeah, I mean, well, I guess we kind of forget that he had a hat trick against Minnesota last year in the snow.
This is true.
So, I don't know. Maybe that's a really unfounded idea that he just doesn't score consistently.
Because I think, when you look at that, too, he was injured for most of that first third of the year.
Where we were on the road constantly.
Exactly. And then we came back, and then we, opened up the bins.
Scored a bunch of goals, played a bunch of games in a very short period of time.
Exactly.
So, I think that's a pretty unfounded thing now just looking back on it, thinking about it.
Exactly.
But I think this goal really is just, it typifies a poacher's goal, right place, right time. The ball's in the box right there. He finds it. It's a crap goal, for being honest. But like at the same time, ball goes in the net, counts all the same as the rest of them. And, he's in the right place when it comes to that. So, I think, again, we talked about it last week. Haters, slow the roll. The man's there. He's going to score goals, and I expect him to get a few more this weekend. But, I mean, I think something else we really have to talk about. That's the first time we've seen Ezequiel Barco start a game.
Yeah.
On the road, no less. He was phenomenal.
Yeah, he looked immaculate, man. Like, just every touch, every dribble, every move towards their end of the box. Oh, man, it was just, you've described it as this way, sumptuous.
Yes.
It is definitely, it was a sumptuous debut. He didn't get the fancy stats that you see in the box score, but, in all the build-up, you could see that
he was so pivotal. I mean, he was on the left, on the right, down the middle. Yeah. His close control, the ball is basically just glued. It's like a magnet to his foot. It's incredible. I've never seen anyone like that in MLS, to be perfectly honest with you. Yeah. I mean, he was taking the tiniest, deftest touches, and just the ball was just, it was incredible. And you can see he kind of is developing this relationship with Gressel as well, cutting in from the right-hand side and providing that little switched ball into his path. And, that's something that can really mess up a defense, especially when you consider that he's drawing defenders to him, and Gressel's finding himself in space. And Gressel was unlucky not to score. It was a good shot with his left foot, not his strong foot, still a decent effort. I mean, I can't even imagine the headache Tata's going to have if everyone's fit at the same time, because in my opinion, after watching this, Atlanta United has just the deepest attacking talent in the league. Like, I don't know. That's not me trying to be biased. I genuinely, there's players in every position, and they can do anything. And when Tata just lets them run, not to mention you have players like Nagby, who was incredible on the turn in this game. I mean, he was picking the ball up deep, turning on LA, and driving at them every time.
Yeah. Which is what he's so good at. And
that's the first time we've really seen him do something like that. I mean, he's controlled games. He played really well against NYCFC, but it wasn't the same picking the ball up on the half turn and then driving at that defense. And LA was terrified of him. I thought he was going to get a goal. He deserved one as well. I mean, again, it really could have and should have been 4-5-0. I mean, LA were not good, and Atlanta
we just finishing.
Atlanta finishing aside was really, really dominant.
Definitely, and so unfortunately, we weren't clinical in the run of play, but we were, I guess, at least clinical when it came to our second penalty. So
100% a penalty, by the way.
Yes. So
100% a penalty.
Yeah. So we'll talk through it. So Romario Williams wins a penalty in the second half, and he's driving into the box.
This is an incredible ball from Kratz, by the way.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What a ball from Kratz. I mean,
and when is he not putting on just pinpoint passes?
I mean, again, I think I saw it on Twitter after the game. Not to kind of break up this play, but it's like the depth that Atlanta United has is incredible. To bring on a Romario, bring on a Kratz, and your two subs combined to help set up the second goal.
Exactly. That
says a lot. Not a lot of teams can do that, and then you have a guy like Mickey who can finish it.
Yeah, it's true. And so Romario shows a deft touch of skill here, and really just is able to bring it to his right where the defender is too late, drags him down. I remember the announcer saying that it was a soft penalty or something, but
sure. I mean, he got kicked in the leg. It was about as stonewall a penalty as you can get. If that's not a pin, I don't know what is.
Exactly.
So
I'd be very confused though.
Both the ref and VAR would have gotten it right. The ref didn't even have to go to it because of how clear of a penalty it was.
Right. So and then Miggy, he goes to his left for the penalty.
Shocker there. Never seen that before. Not once. Nope, never.
If you are a goalkeeper, I mean, I implore you, like, what are you doing? What game tape are you watching? But whatever, man.
I mean,
we'll take it all day. But
if you're a goalkeeping coach and you're playing Atlanta United, you tell your goalkeeper, if Almiron's taking a penalty, just dive left. Or technically goalkeeper's right. Yeah, he never goes anywhere else. Ever. And it's like, eventually at some point he's going to put one down the middle or something, but it's like, until goalkeepers start diving that way and saving it, keep doing the same thing. So thanks, guys. But, I mean, good penalty, capped off a good win.
Right.
You know, maybe the goals weren't the prettiest in the world, but hey, 2-0, 3 points in the bag.
Yeah.
On a big trip out to the West Coast, I am absolutely happy with that.
Very true. Do you think that there's anybody of the two, so like Miggy and Josef, is there a delineation between who's actually number one, number two penalty takers? Because it seems like they just switch off. I mean,
I mean, I don't really think you can pick. I mean, one's a right footer, one's a left footer. Josef, he goes multiple directions. I really, personally, I don't like players that have run-ups like Josef. I think you lose a lot of momentum, and if you're a really good goalkeeper, you can kind of see where he's going and kind of can telegraph it because how slow you're going.
Right.
But I mean, he's a professional footballer, not me, so he knows what he wants to do. So, but I've never really been a fan of that kind of run-up. But you know, I think each of them only missed one in league games. Miggy against Houston and Josef obviously this past weekend. But both are, you know, on the whole, very good penalty takers. So, you know, maybe if we have to go to penalties, let's have both of them on the field next time.
And we gotta talk about how we shut down the man Zlatan, and a lot of times we found him, you know, he was dropped deep. They were playing 4-4-2. They had Zlatan and Ola Kamara as their strikers, but Zlatan was found pretty much at midfield for most of the game trying to affect the play, but nothing doing really.
I mean, he was invisible this game. I think a lot of that just has to go with how bad Galaxy are. I mean, their central midfielders are literally only good for kicking people. How, you know, Kitchen was still on the field at the end of the game is beyond me. And how they didn't have their defender sent off for a second yellow in literally a minute and a half when he pulls down Josef intentionally when he's through on goal. Again, beyond me, but that referee has a history of being a bit of his own kind of guy. So, but like, you know, Galaxy are bad. Zlatan was getting zero service. When he was actually up front, he was just reduced to being a target man, trying to knock it down for other people. He was actually taking corners at the end of the game because the deliveries were so poor. I mean, they had one corner literally just go out for a goal kick without anyone getting to it. Galaxy were bad. Zlatan had no way that he could affect that game. But also, you know, Atlanta playing three at the back, if you're a team that you feel uncomfortable potentially defending, put an extra body back there. And having three defenders there, every time Zlatan or Ole Kamara was near the ball, they were suffocated by defenders. They had nowhere to go. Not to mention, Julian Gressel and Greg Garza both did great jobs tracking back. I think any questions we had about Gressel and his defensive capabilities are answered. He has been incredible so far at that position. And I think he's absolutely undroppable, which leaves Escobar as a bit of an odd man out. But the team played really well. They dropped and defended well at the end when they had to. I mean, even Romario comes on, not when you want to make a change on a corner, and his first touch is a really good clearance out of the box. So, you know, all in all, the team played really well, but I think it was more of a case of Galaxy just being dire and Atlanta United being solid defensively that went into it. But a lot of it is on Galaxy. As good of an effort as I want to give it to the boys, you know, Galaxy were very, very poor.
And they're very, very poor, and it's also maybe questionable in how they set up. They set up 4-4-2, so two strikers against three at the back. It's actually more advantageous to have one striker in when you have three at the back. That way you kind of confuse the back line and like who's picking up who.
Yeah, and usually, if you have someone quick, if you just play Ole Kamara up top, he's able to maybe make those diagonal runs running across the back of them, which is really hard to pick up. You have to communicate that.
Right.
You are not getting that from Zlatan. He's not making those runs. He doesn't have the legs for that. He likes to find space and then be able to create something with his insane skill.
Right.
He was not given that space. That space was never there. The midfield was clogged. They were outnumbered in midfield as well, 2 against 3. And again, when your midfield is only skilled and talented for kicking people and not actually playing with the ball, it's hard for you to ever actually do anything in that area of the pitch. So I thought that Ziggy Schmidt got his tactics wrong, but also just the talent's not there. And Atlanta United, they played right into Atlanta United's hands. So Tata, hats off to him. He put on a tactical masterclass as far as I'm concerned as well.
And post-match, Tata Martino had high praise for this game. Last week was our best performance yet at home, and this was our best game ever on the road. Was it? Was it our best game ever?
I mean, in the sense that I felt that the team were in complete control the whole time, and you knew the result was only going to go one way, then yes, I thought our finishing was quite poor compared to what I think the standard most fans are used to.
Right.
But I get where he's coming from. I mean,
because we have some shouts of like the 6-1 Minnesota win.
Yeah, absolutely. But like at the same time that game, they were terrible, and the weather was terrible, and it was that game was great. I think when it comes to scoreline and entertainment, that game was brilliant. I thought that the win over Real Salt Lake last year was nice. Again, they weren't great. I thought in this case, this was the most control I felt that Atlanta United had in a game that, was even in the sense of weather wasn't a factor, and the team, in theory, isn't like the worst thing in the world.
It was still 11 v 11.
Yeah, exactly. So, I get where he's coming from, and I think it's more of you're seeing them build off each other. I think you can really see the confidence defensively stemming from that Minnesota result, and then going and playing a really good team in New York, who, I think probably spent a lot of energy against Atlanta United because they got whacked by Portland this weekend.
Yeah.
So, I really think that the team is improving, they're growing in confidence, and I would be scared if I was the rest of the league, because I think you're seeing a confidence and a swagger starting to develop with this team that they know they can win wherever they go. And I think that's something that if you can have and you know it and you can back that up, you put yourself in a position to win. So, and when you have a manager that can keep control of games, and honestly probably not a better tactician in the league than Tata, it means a lot when he says something like this. So I'm not trying to get too hyped, but we'll talk about how Atlanta is moving up the power rankings, and I can absolutely see why. And plus, you have to consider that was Ezequiel Barco's first start.
Yeah.
So he's just now coming in, and the team's starting to get even better, and you still have Tito to come back. But you just have the record signing playing and looking really good. So once he gets settled in playing, I mean, he already looked good, but once he gets everything figured out and gets into the flow with the rest of his team, oh boy.
Indeed. And Ezequiel Barco had this to say after the match about the physicality of MLS. He said, "I think soccer is physical everywhere, but you have to get used to that. The truth is that I am very happy with the result, and we have to enjoy this." Yeah, I mean, he's played in Sudamericana finals.
Yeah.
He's played, he took the penalty
to win, basically.
Win it. Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that has seen a lot in his short amount of years. The Argentinian league, the Primera División is...
The pressure for him to make that kick is more than he will ever experience in Atlanta. Because as much as we want to win, it's different, and there's violence and threats if you miss stuff like that.
Exactly. And he'll never be as young as he was.
Exactly. And he stepped up and had the stones to take it and bury it. So confidence is not going to be, I don't think, an issue, or fear is not going to be an issue with this guy.
Or the physicality of MLS.
He's not scared of anyone. I mean, what else is going to be worse? I mean, he's played in some of the most hostile environments there's to play in. So, I mean, when it comes to people trying to kick him or whatever, like Kitchen, it's not going to help. It's not going to wind him up. He's just going to get up, carry on his game, and create.
Yeah, because he's got that demeanor of a very, very mature teenager. He's gone through those battles before. He knows, he doesn't need to get up and argue and yell at the ref or yell at the player, and he doesn't need to do any of that stuff. He just he gets whacked. He
stands up, grabs the ball, kicks the ball, moves on, and carries on with his day.
Yeah, it's
and congrats, you've earned yourself a yellow card. So, yeah, I mean, goodness gracious. I cannot wait till this weekend to see him start in the bins. It's going to be something else. Good luck, Montreal.
Yeah, so, you know, our lineup is something that we have to really look at because that 3-5-2 may become a 4-2-3-1. Tata, like we said before, wants to play a little bit more pressing, a little bit more with possession. And 4-2-3-1 provides that a little bit more for us. We are playing a little bit more on the counter with 3-5-2. But do we see us actually making that transition soon when we're all healthy? Because can we fit all of our offensive players that we want to fit in, aka probably the slightly fringe players? I can't believe I'm even saying this, but the fringe players in Tito Villalba and Julian Gressel.
I mean, in a 4-2-3-1, you absolutely can, but I'd only feel comfortable sending out this lineup in a home game against a team that I think we're going to thrash. In this lineup, in my brain, you play a 4-2-3-1. You have Garza, you have Parkhurst, you have LGP, you have Gressel at right back. There's no reason he should not be able to play that position, even if it's just as a right back. His position will be slightly more withdrawn, but if he's playing at home, he's going to be higher up the pitch to begin with anyway. So then in midfield, I think you really could go with obviously it's Larry and then Nagbe, and then from left to right you have Barco on the left, Mead on the middle, Tito on the right, Josef up top. But the thing is also what's incredible is that there's so much more you can do even with that 4-2-3-1, because if someone's out, I think even now, say Tito can't play this week and you want to play a 4-2-3-1, you absolutely could, in my opinion, because you can play Nagbe in the 10 because he ends up being there anyway. You can play Miggy on the left and Barco on the right or vice versa and just let them move about and drift, which is what we've been seeing them do anyway, which makes them incredibly hard to pick up. And especially against a team like Montreal, not that great defensively. They just shipped 5 goals to LAFC and we smoked LAFC. So, I mean, that gives a lot of creative freedom to those types of players. And then you can keep a very strong, central midfield too with either a Kratz, who's incredibly good on the ball, and a Larry, or even move a McCann up into that spot, which he maybe he didn't do as good of a job there in Houston, but he's been aces since then. And in that position, he'd basically end up just dropping deep anyway into a back 3, and then you have almost a 3-5-2 again. So there's a real flexibility between those two formations that I think that if they're able to switch in and out quickly against multiple games, I think you could see a 3-5-2 against bigger teams because it offers that defensive base, and a 4-2-3-1 against teams that you feel you're better than and that you can beat. And I think the fact that Tata has been able to switch to this 3-5-2 and be so successful and knows that he still has the 4-2-3-1 as well, that gives Atlanta United an incredible amount of options in big games. And it's difficult to switch formations mid-game or to switch back and forth over multiple games. But if he can get him drilled to do that, I don't know if there's any other team in the league that has that flexibility that like Atlanta United does.
Well, one of the things that I think is something that we need to look at is, the 3-5-2 has offered us so much stability. And the fact is that, throughout this season, we've only given up 8 goals. We played 7 games, right?
4 came in one game.
4 came in one game against Houston. So the fact is in 3-5-2, we've only given up 4 goals. I think that's huge.
In 6 games,
and so, that's something that we, should we keep that because we're on such a good run with it? And then if we risk changing it to 4-2-3-1, does that take away some of our defensive stability? I mean, that's something that, we just have to really eagerly see when we actually change to that formation because I think it's coming.
Well, I mean, right now Tito still isn't fit, so I don't think that's really an issue. I think for now you stick with the 3-5-2. I think it's just been so good for you. It's almost silly. There's no reason to change. Keep doing it until it stops working or you have a reason to change.
So you're forced into the change.
I think maybe you could see maybe a test drive of the 4-2-3-1 against a team that that you think you could beat at home in the next couple months or so. Well, not couple months, the next few weeks or so if Tito's fit. Maybe even just for a half or something, or for 30 minutes after the 60th, you make a sub, bring someone on. But I think at the heart of it, you still have to stick with what's working for you. And, you can still play, I still think you could actually play 3-5-2 with, you have to drop one of them, obviously. But it's like, then you have an option off the bench that gives you something incredible. And it also...
Well, one of them being is, I think it's between Tito and Barco, essentially. Because I think we agree, in our minds, I don't think we're seeing Barco as a wingback.
No.
So it's either Garza or McCann on the left side. It's Gressel or Escobar on the right side as the top choices. But and so Barco kind of has the choice of either being the 10 or the second striker.
And even the second striker, who's not really playing like a second striker. I mean, that's where he was in theory against LA, but he was popping up everywhere and just creating, similar to what Miggy did against NYCFC in that same role. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think, obviously, neither one of them would be satisfied sitting on the bench. So I think, if all goes well, I think you will see it in home games especially. But I mean, if someone goes down and you have an injury, you know you have 3-5-2.
Exactly.
If you need to rotate against someone, you know you have 3-5-2. So it's like, I think you ride that horse until you can't anymore, or until you just feel that you're comfortable enough playing with maybe a less solid base from that 3-5-2.
Right.
But again, that's home games against teams you feel that you should beat.
Right.
So it's a conundrum, but at the end of the day, it's a good problem to have.
It's the beauty of like how deep our team is, and compared to last year, that's really what's going to bring us over the top. We'll be able to compete on multiple fronts, and that is very, very exciting.
And we start off our In the News segment this week with a little bit of good fun from Cosmo, the LA Galaxy mascot. He had a nice little rose for Josef, and Josef did not like it, as you can see in this picture here. Sorry there, Cosmo, but
just
Josef, just shove it. He wasn't about that life, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, and basically, Josef probably isn't the biggest fan of this photo. It was taken on MLS Media Day, and obviously for Valentine's Day stuff, if you remember. And he didn't really want this photo to be out there. So yeah, he's not about it at all. But
well, he scored, so he had the last laugh.
Exactly.
Sorry there, Cosmo, buddy. But Josef got the better of that one.
Right, and Cosmo definitely was very glad to see Atlanta United leave, as you can see in this follow-up tweet. So yeah, I mean, don't poke the bear, and he won't bite back. So. But moving on to our next piece of news, Atlanta United are moving up in the power rankings on both MLSsoccer.com and ESPN.com. We are #1 for both, which I think is well deserved. We overtake, I think, NYC for both of them.
They got thumped.
Yeah, they got thumped last weekend, so it makes sense, and we're on a very, very good run. But
still got that game in hand. I mean, Atlanta United has a game in hand on both them and Sporting KC. Atlanta United win, they go to 19 points through 8 games, most points in the league. So
yeah, no, it's we're looking good, but the team and us, we all agree. It's like, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. It's very, very early in the season.
Yeah, and I mean, Miguel Almiron, he talked about, he's like, hey, we're just getting started here.
Yeah.
And for Miguel Almiron, he's getting started by being in the MLS Team of the Week again. Constantly. I mean, honestly, with the exception of, Sporting KC absolutely destroying Vancouver's, which is hilarious, by the way.
Yeah.
They love a good red card or two. Yeah. I'm sorry, at what point do you just realize you're just not very good? And it's just not, it's everyone else's fault but yours, or you're just bad.
Sure, yeah, right.
But, I think with the exception of all those goals going in, Atlanta United could have had multiple players. And I thought Gressel was really good. Yeah. I thought Barco was really good. I thought you could have picked...
Parkey was really good.
I thought you could have picked any of the 3 center backs. So it's like, they did a very, very good job. But, that's if they keep playing this way and your top team, best team in the league, someone's always going to be in there. But Miggy doing things again and putting himself in the Team of the Week.
And to give you guys an injury update, currently the only person that's not training with the team is Tito Villalba. So he's still kind of working out his hamstring injury, but I think this is a good sign, at least for the rest of the team, is that we're fully healthy, knock on wood.
I mean, when the team's playing well and you have the depth that Atlanta has displayed, it enables you to take your time with injuries, especially like a hamstring or something, and make sure that those players are fully recovered. Not because you don't miss them, but because you're so deep and you're so solid going forward in every position that you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to do that. And that's a luxury that a lot of teams in this league don't have.
And moving on to our USL affiliate, ATL UTD 2, we had a pretty good start to our campaign so far, it's been undefeated up until Tuesday night. But they drew 1-1 on Saturday night against the champs, Louisville City, and it also marked the debut of Andrew Carlton at Atlanta United 2. So he had an okay night. It wasn't the best by all accounts, but he skied a penalty at his first chance, but he got the opportunity of a second one, and it was in the last minute of the game, and he buries a penalty to tie it 1-1. That's speaking of stones, I mean, that's pretty good on Andrew Carlton's part. But unfortunately, they lost to our former USL affiliate, Charleston Battery, on Tuesday night. They got a shellacking. It was 3-0 at the end. And her loanee, Gordon Wild, scores a brace, which, I think he's making a point. Yes, he shouldn't have been loaned out, maybe. We'll see. But, I think, still a very, very good start to the season. They'll rebound, but, Atlanta United 2 has been, just a good way for our kind of fringe players on the first team to really, really get a ton of minutes. So Brandon Vasquez also got some minutes, and that's a good thing because he hasn't played in a while. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's that you can't expect too much results-wise. They're not going to win. I highly doubt they win, USL. It's really for the experience for players to get match fitness and to be able to play.
Right.
And especially when the first team's playing as well as they are, and you're not going to get a shout.
Right.
It's good to get those minutes and it's good to get that fitness. So
right.
just a good outlet to have. So I'm not really too concerned about the results as much. I care about how the players perform and how they show growth. And that,
right.
I think that's the most important thing we have to consider for that.
Right. And it's also teenager heavy right now, but it's also because it's our homegrown players, and the fact that they're essentially headlining Atlanta United 2, that's huge. So that's a lot of growth to be had, and we're excited for it.
And we've got another wonder goal from the Atlanta United Academy. In the U13s, Pablo Villanueva with this cheeky little strike from way to the left-hand side. Not a place you traditionally would hit it from. Finds top bins. Excellent goal. Seeing the skills from the U13s,
yeah,
man, that's a good thing when you see that from your academy players.
Right. To beat the keeper from there, wow. And to put it, oh man, where he put it, holy crap.
Might be one of the best goals he ever scores, and he's only, 12, 13 years old. So, save some, keep some of those. But if you're doing that at U13s, I can't wait to see what he does at the higher levels, and hopefully we see him in the first team one day. And I know we talked about it briefly before, but here's your updated MLS Eastern Conference standings. As you can see, Atlanta United on 16 points with a game in hand, which means if they get that game in hand as a W, they go to 19 points, top of the league by 2. That goal difference is sitting nice there at 9. I mean, imagine if we didn't have that shellacking to Houston at the beginning of the season, but fingers crossed we might be able to drop one on someone some point in time soon and get that up there. I mean, they're playing really well right now.
Yeah, definitely. And our goal differential is really, really good. We've scored 17 goals. We've only given up 8. That's, it's a good precedent. And if it just keeps increasing, well, we're sitting pretty. But it's one of those, we are also we're leading the league in points per game, essentially. That's great. That's, we're over 2. I think it's 2.29. That's really, if we can keep this pace, wow.
Yeah, I mean, if you average over 2 points a game, you're usually winning the league. I mean, you're either there or thereabouts.
Right.
That's an incredibly high average. I mean, if you want to get into all of the stats on that, you're averaging almost 2.5 goals a game. Mm-hmm. You're giving up right around 1, and that's really a deceiving stat considering 4. Half of the goals Atlanta United allowed came in 1 game, and they have not looked the same since then. Going unbeaten. And the thing is that's something new for this team. Is that defensive, that defensive solidity that we haven't been accustomed to seeing. And if that's where Atlanta United are going, that goal difference is going to keep getting bigger. And they can put a really big points total on the board at the end of the season. I mean, if they keep playing the way they're playing, I don't see any reason why they can't break Toronto's record from last year. Because, they could go unbeaten in 7. Mm-hmm. And, they've got some tough fixtures coming up. But Chicago on the road, Chicago's not been good. They should win that. Orlando obviously been playing well, so those games are going to mean a lot more this year.
That's going to be a little tougher, yeah.
And then you obviously are going to have Sporting KC at home, though. Yeah. That's going to be a really big test. I mean, that's the best team in the West right now, but you have them at home. So that's in, I believe, May or early June. That's a really, really big fixture. But I mean, with Atlanta playing the way they are, I don't know where they're going to drop those points. It's going to happen. They're going to lose a game. Yeah. That's MLS. So, and it might be a crazy one. I mean, they might lose to Chicago, which makes no sense. But like, things like that happen.
I don't think we can bank on those points. So,
but it's like at the end of the day, if you're playing as well as they are, you're going to put yourself up there at the end of the season. They scored 70. You know, had a plus goal, difference of 30 last year. They're playing better right now, in my opinion, and I think they're going to get even better than what we're seeing right now. So, MLS, watch out, guys.
Yeah, and another team that should probably watch out is Montreal Impact this weekend. It's a 1 p.m. start at the Benz.
Earlier than usual for us.
Way early. I mean, it's like, let's get a balance. Let's get that like 5 p.m. games that we're used to because, last weekend, we were tired. But this Saturday, we get an afternoon game real early. I guess you're going to have to really tailgate very, very early, guys. Get your drink on.
Yeah, but we're going up against the Montreal Impact side that they've shipped 17 goals already, and United have scored 17 goals.
Exactly.
Montreal blew multiple leads against LAFC this past week. They ended up losing 5-3 at home, no less.
And they were leading 3-1 at halftime. That's just wow. What happened?
I'm not overly. It's getting to the point for me. I'm not concerned about home games. I think they'll drop points occasionally, but I think that best home field atmosphere in the league by far, most intimidating atmosphere by far, most confidence playing at home of any team. They know that when they step on the pitch at Mercedes-Benz, they expect to win. We expect them to win. I don't know how many teams in MLS have that expectation. And it's a double-edged sword, obviously, because when you drop points, everyone's going to be upset. Sure. But we have that confidence as a team and as a fan base that I think a lot of teams are jealous of. Montreal have not been here yet. That game was very frustrating last year.
Yes.
A very, very dubious red card and penalty at the end of that first half that had me very salty.
Yeah, LGP didn't deserve it, and it got rescinded afterwards.
So I mean, that whole game just really irked me. So. First time for them in the Benz, and I'm not thinking they're going to do too well. No. But they have a pretty good player in Piatti. So.
Oh yeah, Nacho Piatti, he scored a hat-trick over the weekend. He is their danger man. He can at any point create a moment of magic and create a goal. So he's somebody we really need to watch out for.
He's a completely different animal from Zlatan because he's going to find those spaces. He's much quicker. He's going to make runs. He's a guy that I think will test that back three. If that's,
he'll shoot from deep.
He'll find spaces and he'll create. He's a very good player that I think we all need to watch out for. Because if someone's going to make a play for them, it's more than likely going to be him.
Yeah, and but. Their defensive stability is not
good,
not very good, and so I like our chances. What do you think the score prediction is going to be?
I'm honestly feeling really good. They shipped 5 goals last weekend. I think we're coming back. Barco's first start in the Benz. Yeah. I think they're about to catch a beat down. I'm going to go for 5-0. I think we're going to smoke them. I think that they have no idea what they're about to walk into.
Wow.
I think this team is brimming with confidence.
Yeah.
And they weren't able to handle LAFC. And LAFC, if we want to remember, were tame at best in the Benz. So leaky defense, intimidation. I think they're going to put a number to help our goal difference out and not do Montreal a very, very nice service on their visit.
I dig it. I'm not going to go that high. I think I'll go 3-0. And, that means that, yes, we get a good goal differential that we see. But, yeah, I mean, I think 5-0, just a little too bullish for me.
I'm a bit bullish on this one. I'm not usually this positive.
Can't call it 5 goals.
I'm slightly concerned. I saw Liverpool ship 5 goals past Roma today. I'm feeling confident. I saw Man United beat Tottenham on the weekend. I'm feeling good. I saw us go out to LA and literally should have scored 5 or 6 goals against Galaxy on the road, no less.
Clinical, right?
So at home they're going to be clinical. Josef is going to rue not having a hat trick, and I think it's going to hit the back of the net a lot more than it hits the post this week. I mean, it is very bullish, but I feel really good going into this game, and hopefully come next week I'm feeling really good coming out of it as well.
Oh yeah.
So guys, with tactics and formations being on the brain, our question today to you is this. Would you prefer Atlanta United to play a 3-5-2 if everyone's fit, or switch back to the 4-2-3-1? Hit us down in the comments below and let us know what you think.
So that's it for us today. Remember to smash a like, remember to subscribe if you haven't, and for Tanner McLeod, I'm AJ. Thank you guys so much for watching.